Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. After running through the news you need to know about, we run you through the fan Q&A where we answer fans' questions. Obviously, a lot of exciting stuff to talk about in today's show. The schedule was released. I'm excited to talk about that. The Dolphins made a pretty nice free agent veteran signing over the past week, which I'm really excited to talk about, and I think that's where I really want to start. This first news story comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins signed running back Sony Michel to a one-year deal worth up to up to $2 million. $12 million would have been insane. Up to $2 million. So it's a one-year deal, up to $2 million for Sony Michel, which is great. And this helps the Dolphins in so many different areas. And thank God Mike McDaniel's here. Obviously, has been around a lot of people who know a good running back when they see one. Chris Greer hasn't really done a great job of that since he's been the GM. Like, he's done a pretty bad job of it, actually. He's gotten a lot of, okay guys, but not a star or even a superstar, and he hasn't really invested in that position. So it's nice to have someone who values that position. It obviously is so important to the run game. And, last year the Dolphins signed Malcolm Brown as their veteran guy. And obviously they've made a couple additions with Edmonds and Mostert, but this is significantly better than what they did last year. It's weird that they got two running backs from the Rams back-to-back years, but Sony Michel is obviously a lot better than Malcolm Brown. But my point is if you look at Chris Greer's running back selections in the one offseason Mike McDaniel's been here, he's just added so much talent to that room. And Sony Michel is a great rotational running back. I think some of the stuff that he's going to be able to bring to the team in terms of his skill set, I think his best skill, and it's actually one of the best, he's one of the best, he has some of the best vision. I didn't know how to really say that. Some of the best vision in the National Football League at the running back position. I think that's his strongest skill. That's his best skill, is his vision. Even when he was in New England, everywhere he's been since then, that's his best skill. He's got great vision. Great vision. Now, what he doesn't have is athleticism. He's not a great athlete at all. He does run with power, which I think that's what the Dolphins are going to utilize him in, is short yardage situations, which really helps this team because they really didn't have that guy. And it really helps running backs like Raheem Mostert and Edmonds stay healthy, who've had injuries in the past, especially Mostert. Edmonds is a smaller running back, so you're not going to really rely on him in goal line situations or short yardage situations. And Raheem Mostert is a bigger back, but he is too valuable to kind of pound into the ground like that. If Raheem can stay healthy, he can be one of the best top 5 easy running back in the National Football League. His ability to score from anywhere on the field is special. He's just got to stay healthy. So Sony Michel helps all of that, and he gives the Dolphins a really, really nice short yardage weapon that they haven't had. They've tried to, like I said, Chris has tried to get people like Jordan Howard from Philly that one year. That didn't work out. Obviously, Malcolm Brown last year, that didn't work out. They haven't had a power back in a long time. And it's not necessarily that Sony Michel is like Garrett Blount or Deontay Foreman, some of the other Brandon Jacobs, a real Marshawn Lynch. He's not like that. He uses his vision and his leverage to be successful in short yardage situations, and he's really good at it. All those years playing him in New England, he was a death by 1,000 5-yard gains. He's so good at it. And when there's nothing there, he's really good at finding something. He's just a really solid running back. Unfortunately, the man is dealt. Obviously, he's had his fair share of injuries too. That's kind of, I feel like Sony Michel could have had a better career than he did. But his skill set is going to be much appreciated in Miami, and I feel like the Dolphins will utilize him in those short yardage situations. And like I said, he's much more talented than some of the guys that they've tried to bring in here to play that position. And hats off to Mike McDaniel for really knowing how to, obviously he's been around a lot of people who know a running back when they see one, and in 1 year he's done better than what Brian Flores and Chris Greer or Adam Gase could have done, and really done a really good job of investing in that position. Obviously it's a big part of the team, a big part of the offense, but we've gotten a lot of Band-Aids come through here at that position. It just hasn't worked, and I feel like they've really built a really nice backfield this year. And again, Sony Michel is going to have crucial minutes this year, and he's actually going to be able to contribute. Same thing with Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. All of those guys are going to contribute a lot to the team, and I do think Sony Michel will make the roster. I like him better than Myles Gaskin. I like him better than Ahmed. I think his role is going to be nice. And again, all three of those guys have had some injury issues, so it's nice to have three of them that can play in an NFL game and not be a liability. So I really like what Mike McDaniel has done, and I'm not giving credit to Chris Kerr for the backfield. And I think Mike has done a fantastic job, like I said, of building out that stable of running backs there. It makes me really excited. I just can't wait to watch this offense. The one thing I will say before we move on that worries me about this team is that the depth at the offensive line position is I think that's the weakest part of the roster right now. The center position scares me a little bit. And I like Michael Dieter a lot as a starter, but that needs to be figured out. We can't have a young guy play that position. And then this is a big year for Tua in this offense, so they need to feel comfortable in those areas. And then I would say Teron Armstead, which worries me a lot less, because Austin Jackson, whatever they'll do with him, someone that has some capability will back him up. But Teron Armstead kind of worries me a little bit there. I think that's the weakest part of the team. It would be nice if the Dolphins would go out and get some veteran guys to back them up. They had I want to say that Billy Turner was a free agent. I don't know where he went. It would have been weird for him to come back to Miami, but obviously he's turned his career around. I don't know if he went to Denver. I just looked it up. He went to Denver. But it would be nice maybe if they go out and get someone like J.C. Treader or someone like that to kind of to fill in those gaps, because the offense is really talented. No one, especially any Dolphins fans, wants to see one injury kind of derail the entire machine there. Let's see if there's anything else super important. There's no update on the Hakeem Hicks Carlos Dunlap situation, which was obviously a big news story of the last podcast that we did. Hopefully that gets figured out. I would love Hakeem Hicks on the Dolphins. He would be a fantastic addition to the team. Would be a really, really nice addition to the team. The Dolphins signed some undrafted free agents over the last week. I haven't watched them though, so I don't really want to talk about that because I'm not going to be as knowledgeable. So I'm not going to get in depth on this. But again, the Dolphins announced 14. They signed 14 undrafted free agents over this last week. And again, I'll talk about this on another podcast. I just don't know too much about everybody that they signed. And yeah, that's it for the news. So let's get into the schedule. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about news-wise, other than the whole Tua thing with the underthrow, whatever the heck people were freaking out about over the week. Doesn't really concern me at all. I'm honestly not concerned with any of this offseason stuff until the only thing that I'm interested in is like the young players and how they do. But everything else, the amount of off seasons that I've been through and had heard stuff, like I remember when Jay Cutler first got here and he was like, oh, he's throwing 60-yard touchdowns in practice, and we all saw how that ended up going. So none of that matters, and I promise you that Tua can throw the ball down the field. I don't know why people don't think he can. Something I want to bring up before we move on is he had the worst rated, and I know everybody probably knows this, but I don't understand why this gets glossed over. He had the worst rated offensive line last year. So I feel like you either are in two camps, that Tua can't throw the ball down the field, or you blame it on the offensive line and the ineptitude of the Dolphins' offense the last few years. I tend to blame it on that, not Tua. I guess it just kind of comes down to where you fall. I'm pretty confident that he's going to have a good season this year. I cannot wait for the bandwagons to circle back around. I just want everybody to stay on their side. If you hate Tua, stay over there. You know what I mean? Don't come over here and say I told you so. Because I do think Tua will have a good year this year. So let's get into the schedule. I want to start with the preseason really quick. Just a couple players to kind of look out for in preseason. Obviously, Channington. I'm forgetting his last name. I'm sorry, guys. Obviously, the Georgia linebacker, the Dolphins, their first pick of the draft. He's going to be really fun to watch in preseason. And Skylar Thompson, actually, I think is going to be fun to watch in preseason, too. Between him and Teddy Bridgewater, I think that's going to be a fun quarterback battle. Just wanted to mention that in preseason. It's going to be fun to watch the quarterbacks in preseason this year because I think I like Skylar. I like his game. He has all. I'm interested to see what he kind of develops into in the NFL. So it'll be fun to watch that in preseason. Moving on from that, I really don't want to break down game in, game out. It is funny that the Dolphins got the Patriots for the third year in a row. Thank God they have them at home this year, week 1. But I want to start with the first month and the last month of the year. We'll talk about September and December, mostly. The Dolphins obviously get the NFC North this year, which I think is a huge dub. Because most of those teams are not that great. The Vikings kind of got worse in some ways. I just feel like their defense is really bad. The Packers obviously got worse. The Lions and Bears aren't that good. So I think that was kind of clutch. So let's talk about the first month of the year really quick. Obviously, they get the Patriots at home, which is huge. I think finally we get a home game to start week 1. I really wanted Buffalo on the road in September really bad. We ended up having to play them on the road in December again, which kind of sucks. But again, for like the second year in a row, we play the Bills in September. So I think those are the September is kind of tough. We get the Patriots at home, the Ravens on the road, the Bills at home, and then the Bengals on the road. So pretty tough AFC schedule right there to start the year. And then to end the year, the Dolphins go on the road to... they start on the road in San Francisco. Then they go on the road to LA to play the Chargers. And then they go on the road again to Buffalo. And then at home for the second to last game of the year, in Green Bay, and then they go on the road in New England. So, yeah, it's not... I feel like this easiest part of the Dolphins schedule is definitely like October, November. That's significantly easier than the start and the end. I'm not really too worried about the schedule, though. The last game of the year is against the Jets at home. So it would go, the Dolphins have to go to Gillette at home for Green Bay, and then at the end of the year they would play the Jets there. There's not really much to say about the schedule because we really don't know who's going to be bad and who's going to be good, who's going to have to deal with injuries. Certain games will be easier than you see on the schedule now. I actually think this is a pretty nice schedule. In terms of strength of schedule, I know the Dolphins got like the 21st easiest. It's not that bad. I think the schedule is actually easier than last year. The only thing that I would say that I would have rather played Buffalo definitely on the road early on. That was probably my only thing that was like, it kind of sucks. We have to go on the road again in December. I can't even remember the last time we got Buffalo the first month of the year on the road. Like, someone has to leave that down in the comment section below. Obviously, the last time we beat Buffalo was Josh Allen's rookie year, I believe. So, and that was at home. So, yeah, we haven't beat the Bills on the road since 2016. I think. I don't think we ever... Yeah, I think that's the last time we beat them. And that was on a game-winning field goal that barely went in. But we made the playoffs that year. But anyway, the point is, that's the only thing that I can really say about the schedule. It's really awesome. We got the NFC North. We got a lot of easy games, too, on the schedule, like the Lions and Texans and Bears. And who else did we get? The Jets, obviously. I know people are overhyping the Jets. I just want to point that out. So yeah, I actually kind of like it. I think it's easier than it was last year, in my opinion. So yeah, that's it for the schedule. I think we pretty much cover it at all. I don't really like predicting records and stuff, so I'm sorry if that's I'm not going score by score there. I think it's kind of lame, but let's get into the fan Q&A where we answer Dolphins fans' questions. This is definitely going to be a shorter episode. There's not too much to talk about. But yeah, so let's get into the fan Q&A and answer some fans' questions. This first question comes from Steve. He says, looking ahead, there is a chance that some of the draft picks. This thing's too far away from you guys. I gotta move this closer. You can barely see it. This first question comes from Steve. He says, looking ahead, there is a chance that some of the draft picks for the upcoming 2023 draft, particularly the first-round picks, could be taken if the NFL decides to penalize the team for Ross's actions. If that happens, do you think it will be looked back on as a mistake that the draft capital was not used to trade back into the first round in the 2022 draft or trade for a current player? No, I don't think so. I mean, that is one heck of a hypothetical if Stephen Ross is found guilty, and then they just took our first round picks away. I hate that, by the way. I've never understood. All you're punishing is the fans. That's all you're doing. I don't know how you punish an owner. I don't know how you do that. I'm not saying I have the answers for that, but I always thought that was really stupid in sports. But I don't know. I think that would just be an unfortunate situation and just another reason to hate Stephen Ross, to be honest with you. I don't think that Chris Greer should have known that, or because those picks are so valuable, it's actually worth keeping them and risking hopefully Stephen Ross doesn't get found guilty. So it's actually kind of worth it because there are so many. At least in my opinion, I like. There are so many good quarterbacks in this upcoming draft that I just absolutely love, like Caleb Williams and Bryce Love. I think those two are like superstars. So if Tua doesn't work out, I hope the Dolphins get Caleb Williams. I remember the first time I watched Caleb Williams play, and I was like, this dude, he reminds me a lot of Josh Allen in a lot of different ways. But I really, really like Caleb Williams and Bryce Love a lot. So I think those picks are worth the gamble of keeping, to answer your question, Steve. This next question comes from Steve again. He says, with the video release of the deep ball Tua through to Tyreek Hill, we were just talking about this. Two supporters will say it's not a big deal, while non-supporters will say that his arm is weak. This is kind of what I was saying earlier in the show. Facts that are that Tua is not a strong arm quarterback, and they knew that when they drafted him. They drafted him for his pocket presence and his ball placement skills. Even though I'm not a big Tua fan, I wish him success, so in turn the team has success. To me, this video is not a huge deal. What is your take on it? Yeah, I feel the same way. I have a difference in opinion than you, Steve, and I completely understand why people think that about Tua, that they're not in love with what they've seen, and of course I'm not either. I wish the offense was better. I just still think that the quarterback that we all saw play in college can translate to the NFL eventually, and hopefully it happens. I think it will happen this year. But to answer your question about is the video a huge deal? It's not a huge deal. Tyreek Hill posted a video, I think, the next day of him hitting deep balls. Tua can throw the ball deep. I really don't understand. I just look at it differently. The reason why that he hasn't been able to push the ball down the field as much as we would like as fans. I look at the entire offense. I look at the offensive line. That's just the stuff I blame it on. I don't blame it on Tua. But yeah, it's not a big deal. There have been so many like off-season narratives that have just not come true. Whether they're videos or scrimmages videos or something a beat writer said. I just don't pay attention to it until preseason. I think preseason is where you can really like differentiate some things, because obviously as we're not relying on someone else's opinion, and it's real game action. So I think preseason is where you kind of get to see some of that stuff. This next question comes from Jared. He says, "Hey Skaggs, the media got a hold of a clip of Tua underthrowing a pass to Tyreek Hill. Does that mean the Dolphins should trade Tua for Baker Mayfield and abandon all hope for the upcoming season and let Tom Brady own the team?" That's a lot. I hate Baker Mayfield, so no. I've never liked Baker Mayfield. I just don't think he's a very good quarterback. And what about... People are just overreacting to that. This next question comes from SMB. He says, Skaggs, how does Brian Flores enjoy being in the room with Minkah Fitzpatrick? Probably, you know what, dude? I've been thinking about that forever now. People, I don't know. Like, what is that going to be like? That's got to be kind of weird for him. And not Minkah, but for Brian. I don't know. What could have been, everybody? With that defense and Minkah Fitzpatrick on it with, like, Eric Rowe, and it would have been obviously the defense and just the versatility and all the stuff we could have done with them. And just, it sucks that just never... It sucks it just didn't work. A first-team All-Pro safety. And by the way, that's another one that fans were just ripping Minkah. And I guess it wasn't fans. It was the national media calling him a bust. Minkah had a good rookie season. That's one of the dumbest narratives I've ever seen, was that. Because Minkah really did. He was like the best part of that year. That was one of the darkest years in Dolphins history. And Minkah was by far like the brightest part of it. This next question comes from Steve. He says the team, at least on paper, will be better. The offense through the line, the run game, and receivers have all been upgraded significantly. As much as the Dolphins have improved, Okay. As much as the Dolphins have improved, these upgrades, I lost my place. As much as the Dolphins have improved, so have other teams improved themselves. So the question is, has the gap been closed? Have the Dolphins caught up with other teams in the AFC, like Cincinnati and Buffalo? Or are they still a step behind? Or have the Dolphins passed them? Okay, here's the thing about, I don't know, Cincinnati's an interesting one to bring up. But Cincinnati, I don't really, first of all, here's what people have to understand. And this is some of the national media stuff that I don't understand. New England got worse this year, okay? They got worse. And we swept them they had a better team last year, and we swept them. Okay? So I just want to just say that. The second thing is, Cincinnati won one more game than the Dolphins did last year. And their division got better. I'm not in love with their offensive line. I know everybody keeps bringing up the fact that they've improved. I don't think they've improved that much. People were raving about Ted Karras, and he was in Miami. We all know how Ted Karras is. Like, some of the signings that these people were freaking out about, I'm like, these guys aren't that great. Well, Collins is good. He's a good player, but I don't know. I don't think necessarily Cincinnati's gotten that much better, and I feel like they're the same, and if not worse because of their division. So, I don't know. I feel like, yes, there are definitely teams in the AFC, like the Chargers definitely got better. The Bills got a little bit... I feel like they kind of stayed the same. It just kind of depends on Von Miller. Their offense... The James Cook thing really hurt me on draft day. Because that's kind of a problem. But, I would say the good thing about what the Dolphins did in the offseason is it makes them a better matchup for Buffalo, because the last 2 years, especially since Tua's gotten in the league, even if you think about Tua's rookie year, we were more of a pass offense, and then we couldn't run the football. And then in the next year, the same thing happened. We couldn't run the football, and we passed the ball more than we ran. I mean, if you look at especially those games in Buffalo, so we match up significantly better of how the team and the offense is built now. So I think that gives the Dolphins a way better chance against Buffalo because they can rely on the run game. They have more talented pieces there, and honestly, I think the defense for the Bills is I would say give them one more year. In the secondary at least. They're kind of getting worse in some areas, getting a little bit older. So, I don't know. I feel like what they did in the offseason definitely helps them match up with Buffalo better. So, I think, honestly, the Dolphins got better, more better than most teams did, because they really did a good job of figuring out their weaknesses and schematically strengthening some of the other players on the team, too. That they already had on the roster. This next question comes from SMB. He says, who will be the Dolphins starting running back week 1? I mean, depth chart wise, I'll probably have to go with Chase Edmonds. I think he'll probably, I don't know, there won't really be a starter. to answer your question, SM. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm actually very excited to watch Chase Edmonds play, though. He's a very good player, and this entire offense I'm excited to watch play. The only thing, like I said, that scares me is the depth on the offensive line. That's really what I'm like super concerned about. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super hyped for the season. I think the schedule, especially the middle part of the year, is pretty easy. We get to play the NFC North, which is awesome. All of these games are winnable. The only question is obviously the quarterback position and what level of play we're going to get from it. That's the only difference. If the Dolphins can unlock Tua, then this is going to be a significantly better year than last year. I think at the very least you can expect a better offense this year, a more talented offense. Obviously, the last 4 or 5 years, actually I'll say 5 years, the offense hasn't been great. It's been kind of tough to watch, other than Fitzmagic throwing balls that you shouldn't throw sometimes. But anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.